The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are shocking the NFL right now. 2 weeks into the season, they are undefeated. But the story is not just about the wins, it is about how they are doing it. With key starters missing, with injuries stacked high, and with the odds against them, this team looks tougher than ever. The real surprise is that Baker Mayfield is not just surviving in Tampa Bay, he is thriving. And what nobody expected is how quickly this team has turned into one of the most dangerous groups in football. Every drive feels like a test, every game like a fight for survival, yet the Buccaneers keep answering. They are winning games late, they are building trust in the huddle, and they are showing a confidence that cannot be faked. The last 2 years were supposed to be a bridge after Tom Brady, but instead it looks like the foundation of something even bigger. When you look at how they have responded in high-pressure moments, especially against playoff-caliber teams, it is clear this is no fluke. The question now is how they reached this point so fast. What pushed Baker Mayfield from a journeyman quarterback into the face of a franchise? What changed inside this locker room that has Tampa Bay playing with this much fire? To understand that, you have to go back to the beginning of Mayfield's NFL journey and the chaos that shaped him before Tampa ever gave him a shot. But before we get into that, hit that like and subscribe button for more Bucs and all the NFL content. Let's aim for 300 likes on this video. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are not the start of this story, they are the payoff. And to see why, you have to follow Baker Mayfield through the storms that shaped him. He entered the league as the first overall pick in 2018 to the Cleveland Browns, then lived through constant change. New head coach, new playbook, new voices in his ear, sometimes all in the span of months. What nobody is talking about enough is how that kind of turnover hardens a quarterback. It tests your memory, your patience, your confidence, and if you survive it, you come out sharper. Carolina was another reset, another system to learn, another short runway to prove everything. The results were rough, but the context matters. A young offense still finding itself and a staff still building its plan. Then came Los Angeles, a quick call, a cross-country flight, and a primetime comeback with the Rams that reminded everyone why he went first overall in the first place. That night was not a career saver. It was a compass, a sign that with the right structure, Baker could steady the huddle and finish games. The twist is that this journey was not random at all. It prepared him for the exact situation Tampa Bay would offer. After college days, that began as a walk-on and turned into a Heisman. After 3 very different NFL stops, Baker learned how to adapt without losing his edge. The question now is what happens when that experience meets a roster with real weapons and a staff that believes in him, which takes us straight into how the Buccaneers and Mayfield found the perfect fit. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers needed answers the moment Tom Brady stepped away, and the clock started ticking. A veteran roster wanted a leader who could take hits, make throws, and own the huddle when it got loud. Baker Mayfield walked in on a prove-it deal, looked that pressure in the eye, and treated it like fuel. What nobody expected was how clean the fit felt from day one. A tough quarterback paired with a tough locker room, guided by Todd Bowles and a front office that knows how to build around its stars. The first season told the story. Mayfield stacked 28 touchdowns with 4,000 passing yards against 10 interceptions, while the run game fought through dry spells and defenses stacked the box. Mike Evans kept punishing coverage, Chris Godwin kept moving chains, and Cade Otton turned timely catches into momentum. When the stage got bigger, the response got bigger. A playoff win over the Eagles followed by a toe-to-toe battle with Detroit that came down to a single mistake. It was not flash, it was control, it was belief, and it changed how the locker room saw its future. But here is the twist. That was only the foundation. What happens when timing with the receivers tightens, the ground game finally breathes, and the staff tailors every call to his strengths? The next chapter is the leap, the part where Baker shifts from stabilizing the ship to driving the offense, and that is where the evolution into a true gunslinger begins. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers watched Baker Mayfield flip the switch from steady starter to closer. The jump did not come from luck, it came from a sharper mind and faster eyes. What nobody is talking about is how he began dictating pace at the line, changing protections, reading leverage, and punishing single coverage without forcing throws. The shocking part is that defenses knew the ball was in his hands late, and he still found answers. With Liam Cohen calling it in 2024, Mayfield delivered 41 touchdowns with 16 interceptions, the biggest surge of his career. A true run game finally arrived, a top 5 unit that let him attack off play action. Graham Barton settled the middle at center. Rookie Bucky Irving hit the crease with burst. and Rachaad White kept chains moving. Mike Evans owned the vertical lanes, Chris Godwin worked the option routes, Cade Otton won tight space, and Jalen McMillan became a red zone problem. The tape shows quicker feet, cleaner pockets, and throws on time, the kind that turned third and long into quiet first downs. But here is the twist: the upgrade was only the start. Once you raise the standard, you have to carry it through chaos, and Tampa Bay was about to face plenty. The question now is how that new version of Baker holds up when bodies are missing and the protection shuffles, which is where the next chapter of resilience begins. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are winning while walking a tightrope. Key playmakers are missing, the lineup keeps shifting, and yet the record sits at 2-0. That is the shock. Chris Godwin is working back from an ankle issue, Tristan Wirfs has a knee setback, and Jalen McMillan is sidelined with a neck injury. Every week asks the same question: can this group keep its nerve when the field shrinks and the clock turns red? The answer starts up front. Graham Barton slid to left tackle to protect the blind side. Ben Bredesen handled the calls at center. Cody Mauch steadied right guard. Michael Jordan filled at left guard. And Charlie Heck stepped in at right tackle. The run game stayed alive with Bucky Irving exploding through creases and Rachaad White grinding out tough yards, which kept play action honest. Drives have turned into late tests, and Tampa Bay has passed them with back-to-back winning marches that demanded precision, toughness, and trust. Now the tension spikes. Houston sent waves of pressure, the pocket squeezed, and one snap set the tone for how this season might be remembered. 4th and 10, season energy on the line, and Baker Mayfield had to create something from nothing. What he did next is the moment that defined the huddle, and it launches us straight into the play that proved he is more than steady. He is the spark. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers season tilted on a single play against Houston, and Baker Mayfield delivered. With 2 minutes and 10 seconds left, facing 4th and 10 deep in his own territory, he escaped a collapsing pocket, outran a free rusher, and converted with his legs instead of forcing a throw. That moment flipped the energy, leading to clutch completions to Mike Evans and Cade Otton before Rachaad White finished the drive for a 20-19 win. Beyond the victory, it proved Mayfield's toughness inspires the entire roster, pushing the defense to play tighter even as Kalijah Cansey's injury forces Todd Bowles to adjust his rotation. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense turned a potential setback into a rallying point after losing Kalijah Cansey for the season, with Todd Bowles reshaping the front and keeping the unit aggressive and disciplined. Greg Gaines anchors the run defense, rookie Elijah Roberts shows promise. As a pass rusher, Haason Reddick demands attention off the edge, and Vita Vea collapses pockets inside, while Levante David steadies the second level. The secondary, led by Antoine Winfield Jr., Jamel Dean, Zion McCollum, Tyke Smith, and rookie Benjamin Morrison, closes windows and creates turnovers. This depth not only sustains the team while injured starters heal, but also raises the long-term ceiling, hinting that Tampa Bay could become even more dangerous once the roster is fully healthy. Here is the twist. When Chris Godwin returns, when Tristan Wirfs settles the edge, when Luke Goedeke is back in rhythm, when Barton can snap again if the plan calls for it, the middle run game opens and the play action gets mean. That is when Baker Mayfield moves from spark to closer every week. So I want your read. Is Baker already a top 5 quarterback? Which defender is your breakout pick? And how far can this team go when the roster is whole? If you are riding with Tampa Bay, drop your take in the comments, hit subscribe, and tap like so. More fans find this breakdown.